right, welcome to another episode of the Middle Aged Metalhead. Today, Abhi and I are going to be talking about our last haul video for the year. I think we've got a bunch of stuff that we're really happy with. Some new, some old, some classics, maybe some soon to be classics. And of course, as it keeps happening on this channel, the importance of physical media and not just streaming, right?
Yeah,
So, hey, Abhi, how's it going?
it's going, man. I mean, last haul video. I've never, in fact, this is my first haul video. Ironically, I've never really done one. But I do love talking about whatever I buy on the group and even on DMs or whatever. So yeah, I mean, aside from however we've wasted money according to our respective spouses this year, how has it been for you? I mean, throughout the year in terms of getting what you wanted.
Oh, it's been really good. I think my last haul, which I'll show today, has been spectacular. Also, I've got some long pending wants crossed off, so this year's been good. Every year I start with okay, I'm going to buy less this year, but that hasn't happened. This year's obsession has been Indian pressings, vintage Indian pressings on vinyl. So got a whole bunch of really classic albums that were all manufactured in India and specifically manufactured in the Dum Dum plant
Right.
in Calcutta. So very happy with those, which I've shown in earlier videos. I think this one will be mostly metal, except for a couple of odd choices. Yeah. Also, just to clarify, I guess my wife is my biggest enabler in this
Oh wow.
madness. So yeah, very I would say lucky, except that yeah, she enables and then she complains about the lack of space. So that's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as she's enabling me, it's all good.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of the same, but also a little reverse in that case. Like my wife, she is essentially very happy about the fact that I actually get what I want, and I'm happy
Uh,
that way. I'm not cribbing or crabby the other way. But she also complains about the fact that the X amount of money that is spent and stuff like
uh,
that could have been invested in something much better and much more productive. But yeah,
uh,
just yeah, fair, as you're aware, GK. Like this is a year I started collecting again. Like I
uh,
used to collect tapes, and as you can see at the background, I collect a lot of books and comic books and stuff like that, and action figures. So I decided to pause all that and divide all of my attention to collecting physical media in especially in music again, which I feel is, earlier I didn't give a shit about for like at least 4 to 5 years, and I didn't care. I was like everything is available on streaming, but
mm,
as the time progresses, you tend to realize like how much of this stuff is unavailable on streaming, or at least not in the same quality as you would want to consume it.
yeah,
We have, I mean, I can speak for the both of us. I think we have that little bit of an audiophile kira also. We want stuff to
yeah,
listen to it, or the way it is recorded, the way it is, and that tactile feeling, you read the liner notes while you're playing the music. I think that just elevates a lot of stuff. Like I know for a fact you spoke about it earlier in some of your earlier conversations that we've had, like how much you connected with Deathspell Omega while you were reading the liner notes.
yeah, true.
And that is I feel again, I don't want to sound like an old man here, is I feel that is something which a lot of young people are bereft of currently. Reading the liner notes, researching about these bands that you care so much about, I think that is kind of a lost art, which at least I am trying to bring about a change in the way I consume media again.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
So what do you
Okay,
have first
let's.
online?
So first is a couple of Japanese pressings.
Oh, wow.
This one is yeah, the Scorpions 1984, I think. Original Jap pressing, Love at First Sting. Pretty much in their solid 80s hard
Yeah.
rock phase. So you've got Bad Boys Running Wild, Rock You Like a Hurricane. Obviously, you've got Still Loving You, and doesn't have the OB, which
Mm.
is why I got a really good deal on this. But comes with, yeah, the inner sleeve, and I have absolutely no idea what it says, but Yeah, and if you pause on the other side of the inner sleeve, you'll see something highly objectionable. And if this channel was making money, it would be demonetized and banned.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, at
so
least
that's
the five viewers that we have will be happy. So
yeah, that's the first one. The second one is this was something I've been
Hawkwind.
wanting for a really long time. I think the last Essential Hawkwind album that I was missing, one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yeah.
So this is another Japanese pressing, comes with a nice OB, album's in pristine condition. I think it's a reissue from 84 or 85. So
Mm.
it's not a gatefold. It's so the artwork is split across the front and the back.
Mm.
But yeah, just an absolutely classic album in really good condition. One thing for the Japanese, they really knew or really know how to take care of their material, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jap pressings, even from the 70s, are absolutely amazing. Same with their CDs as well. Hmm. Back to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I don't have a lot of. I don't have even one. I don't think a Japanese pressing, but I would love to get one, especially of a band from Japan. Like I know Kali
Hmm.
Yuga Conspiracies, our mutual friends. They were putting out some Sabbath records earlier this year. I have texted them. Hopefully they will be back in stock again because I need some Sabbath in my collection because I mean the essential Japanese band, you know. But aside from
Uh,
that, I do need bands like Gizm and stuff like that and Anthem and
uh,
stuff. You know, so these are some Japanese bands that I actually enjoy. And hopefully if we get a Japanese press and not, repress it, etc., that would be really
yeah.
cool. So one band that I really love is Funeral Mist, as you can see
Uh,
on your screens here. So this is again they are on Norma Evangelium Diaboli or Noevdia, and this was released in 2009. And this is actually the Ajna offensive version that I have. And shout
oh,
out Bangalore Audio Distro who was kind enough to actually get this version for me. I've been looking for this for a very long time, and I feel Maranatha, this album, it comes with a really cool. I mean, Norma Imagine, Diaboli, they're really good with their inlays. It comes with lyrics and some epic imagery, which goes with the album as well. It comes with very detailed lyrics and the thought process behind the album. So essentially, it's black metal. It's a point of inflection in the history of Funeral Mist. It's the first record made by Ariok or Mortus as a part of Marduk as well. And he has Devo on recording duties and Lars Brodersen, who was at that time the drummer for Marduk, filling in drums as well. And this is kind of a deviation from where and what Marduk were doing, and of course what Funeral Mist was. There's a very audible and discernible deviation from the way he sings. There are standard rasps. He veers into groans. There's a lot of atmospheric elements here. And this is an album which shows that Ariok rising above from the usual black metal paradigms that essential bands like that find themselves in, and delivering on his own unique take on black metal, regardless of the expectations what you have from the genre. Like this is an album which it condemns religion. It essentially is very I wouldn't say confrontational, but it is also an album which subverts a lot of what religion stands for. This is an album which it's not a concept record, but it takes elements from the Bible and it kind of makes it it tries to posit a world which is just God and nothing else, and how militant that essentially would be. So that is one which I got. The other one which I also picked up, and this is from Slatanic Distro, and shout out to them as well. This is also another essential modern black metal album. I remember discovering Mgla during the pandemic, and I was low-key obsessed with them. And again, the insert is very basic, just the lyrics. This album, of course, was released in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, on Northern Heritage, and this is the 2020 version from No Solace. So I remember Slatanic earlier this year doing a kind of a run from No Solace, getting all the Mgla albums, and I kind of kick myself right now that I didn't get the new Hauntologist as well, because they are there. It's Darkseid, the drummers, kind of a
Side project,
post,
yeah.
yeah, side project, post punkish, with a lot of black metal also. I think, in my opinion, JK, this is a modern masterpiece of
Mm.
exercise in futility, because it captures a lot of the bands which have come post 2015. You will see them trying to do what Mgla does.
Yeah.
And the fact that these guys are so intensely popular, they kind of get, at least from a lot of our cult people, they kind of get like a bad rap, in the sense like, these guys are so popular, posers and stuff like that. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
I
go.
think a lot of that is, what would you call it? Retrofitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because I remember when Hearts Towards None and this one came out, there were no naysayers. Everyone was going gaga about this band.
Yeah,
And rightfully so, right? Those
yeah,
two albums are fantastic. But yeah, now I think that is one problem that that we all have. Like,
yeah.
the minute a band becomes big, or normies start listening to a band, which I think has become the case with Mgla, a lot of people tend to automatically hate on the band rather than hating on the Time Pass fans.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and we were talking about it yesterday, if you remember, on the group. Me and Telalzul, from Anth, we were discussing the lyricism of this band, and there is so much
Yeah.
depth, and it goes beyond the cookie cutter nihilism that many bands posit.
Mhm.
This album, of course, starts off with this epic line: "The great truth is that there isn't one." But it is such a great reading of philosophy and the way the world is, and how the entire system is hollow, and hence we must look inward and build ourselves inward out. It's a fantastic album, which I feel that anyone worth their salt, if you are into this kind of music, do get this album. It's readily available also, I think. So if you know the sources, please feel free to get hold of Mgla, and of course Funeral Mist, a life-changing album for me. Up to you, GK. What do you have next?
Yeah, Funeral Mist. I actually like Funeral Mist more than anything Mortis did with Marduk. All
Oh,
the Funeral Mist albums.
yeah.
So, but this is going to be quite a change from Mgla. But I've got a couple from Bangalore Audio Distro. First up,
Oh, nice.
yeah, Bob Marley Live from 1975. I'd say one of the greatest live albums of all time.
Yeah.
Perfect for when I'm in the mood for reggae, which is maybe once a year. But this album is like, it's just a classic, and it
Yeah.
scratches that very particular itch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Trenchtown Rock, No Woman, No Cry, I Shot the Sheriff, Get Up, Stand Up, classic set of songs as well. And honestly, probably if you're only interested or marginally interested in reggae like I am, I think this is the only real Bob Marley album you need, along with probably the Harder They Come soundtrack. But yeah, great one. And another one from Bangalore Audio
Oh,
Distro.
nice.
Yeah, Vital Remains, Dawn of the Apocalypse. Absolutely love the first 5, 6 albums by this band. And this was my first introduction to the band as well. I think I prefer Let Us Pray and Forever Underground, but still kick-ass album.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those who don't know, Vital Remains, death metal, but very much marching to their own drum.
Yeah.
So check them out.
Yeah. Vital Remains, for me, I feel, and by extension, even Dying Fetus, I think that is what death metal would sound if you had a hardcore drummer. Uh,
Wow.
it's very, very in your face. Even in a genre like death metal, they are relentless, and it's just it's a testament to Dave Suzuki's talent. Yeah, I mean, that guy, he is just he's insane. He's a multi instrumentalist, and for me, I love Dechristianize. I think just, and that's mostly because of my love for Glenn Benton and everything that he does. But Dechristianize was my introduction to Vital Remains, and that album still today. And I know I'll most likely get that. It's in one of my 2026 lists, which we may discuss at the end of this video. Stuff that we want to get, and that is definitely high up on my list. The Benton albums, and of course Forever Underground and Dawn of the Apocalypse and stuff like that. Next up, I have an album which was from Amor Fati. Again, shout out to Satanic distro. They were kind enough to get me Azelissasath's Ablazing Wings. Now it was released this year itself. One of my favorite albums of the year. Maybe in a future episode you may hear me and GK speak about some more of our favorite albums. But the members are people from Haksanu, from Thergion, Swadadauthus, of course, him of 45 different bands, and members from Collier de Ombre, Osgraves, Vornir, etc. And this is raw black metal. It has that old school spirit, and this is a band which is not interested in rewriting the blueprint. There are no extended guitar solos and lot of atmospherics, etc. None of that. It's just 90s black metal done right. And the first time I heard this, you have this particular itch of when we all of us we grew up listening to these bands or this genre at its very outset, right? Growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, but right now it's very difficult to get these kind of bands which don't merely sound like rip-offs. This is a band which does it really well. It is that vein of black metal, but it is its own thing. One disappointment though, it's just a fucking cardboard. It's just a cutout. That's it. There is nothing else for the premium price that it comes for. It's one of the more expensive CDs that I have. It's just that there is nothing else. It's just the name of the members of the band, which you can get from any other place, and a painting, and that's about it. And I think
Yeah.
Amor Fati is notorious for this, yeah, because regardless of how many albums from that record label I have, it's all this. And that brings us to another Amor Fati album, suffering from the same problems and having the same members, and that's Vornir. Uh, of Haranford Kront. I hope you can see it, GK, and the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, this is also from the Church of Mr. Scouse and Amor Fati distribution. This is an album which I have spoken about earlier on this channel also. This is a band which would not feel odd if they were in Norma Evangelium Diaboli. This is that type of black metal. It's dissonant. It is like a descent into madness. It is very angular. There is no anchor, so as to say. um, and obviously this is an album which I absolutely loved, and I jumped at the chance of owning this. It also has like members like Swatadalt, who's one of his 45 bands, and yeah, it's an underground gem. If you are into that kind of black metal, Vornir av Varenfrankrant is something which you need in your record collection. It will sit right next to your Deathspell Omegas and Funeral Mist also, early Funeral Mists of the world. Fantastic atmospheric, brutal black metal. So yeah, thoughts, GK?
Yeah, I like Azelissasath a lot. Wagner, I haven't heard yet. I think I've completely slept on it. But yeah, I missed out on this order from Slatanic, so didn't get any of these on CD. But yeah, really good stuff. And the dude with the unpronounceable name, like, thank you for saying it because now I finally know how to say it, but now I've forgotten also.
Swatadathus.
Swati Datus. But fuck, he's like got some talent, man. Maybe still needs a little bit of editing
Yeah.
with some of his bands, but Secrets was another really good one, right?
Yeah, I got that
A few
also. I
years
thought of
ago. Oh, you
speaking
did?
about it, but then
Okay.
again, I thought like how much Emperor can be fitted into one episode.
Yeah, that was another really good band as well. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. What do you have next, GK?
Okay, I've got a couple of Finnish death metal. I wouldn't call them classics, but maybe minor classics. So
Oh,
Depravity,
nicely done.
Silence of the Centuries. So this comes with the Silence of the Centuries EP on side A and the Remasquerade EP from 92 on side B. So pretty much all the Depravity you would need. This came out on Dark Descent, I think, sometime in, yeah, this is a 2024 reissue. So this was pretty cool. And the other one was
Honors.
Purtenance. Yeah, member of what is it called? Member of Immortal Damnation. This is an extreme music reissue from a couple of years ago, I think, but very nicely done. Two albums that have been wanting on vinyl for a long time, and now I have to figure out whether I want to keep the CDs or not. But yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, this is an
And
album which I've been also looking for a while, and
oh, okay,
if you are letting it go, please let it go.
the Purtenance.
Yeah, Purtenance.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, this is again, I don't have like a lot of since I've started collecting, I don't have like a lot of death metal that I want,
Mhm.
especially the really, really underground stuff, and I have
Yeah,
decided to forego of like a lot of I just want to keep, let's just put it this way, even if when it comes to Corpse, I just want to keep the Barnes era albums. I don't,
Mhm.
as much as I like Corpse guys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the Barnes era is the stuff which you always go
Mhm.
back to.
Yeah.
So I'm also trying to be very particular about the way I collect. Like I got this advice
Mhm.
from you, I remember, that only buy stuff which you know for a fact that you will be for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take that advice also, because I, even over the past year, like the almost 200 albums that I've collected, I can see now that at least there are 25 which I don't think I will give a fuck about like another 20, another year, couple of years from now. So yeah, so I think that is the balancing act that we need
Yeah.
to we need to play.
True. Okay. Yeah. Back to you.
So next up, I have another black metal album. It's by a band called Kuldigul, Haxen. They're a Polish black metal band. This was released in 2008 and under Hell's Headbangers. And of course, the version that I have is the Under the Sign of the Grizel production, which came out in 2021. And this is a side project of this guy from Death Like Masks, Sodality, etc. His name, of course, is Mark of the Devil. He's the vocalist of this. And, it comes with a nice, very old school, old timey looking insert, which has the lyrics, if you can call them lyrics, uh, here, and very nicely done cover also. Haxon essentially is not a concept album. I'm not sure whether you've heard this band, GK, but in a narrative sense, they're not a concept album. It's almost like a ritualistic document. Even the lyrics which you would see, they are incantations, stuff which people say in kind of a satanic uh, ritual and stuff like that. And it's a reconstruction of pre-Christian folk witchcraft. So all of it is just, the music here is just soundtrack to that. And they use this witchcrafty material that predates modern Wicca or romantic paganism that mostly we see currently. It's not nature worship or any new paganism. It draws instead from historical sources that portray witchcraft as something which is antisocial, ecstatic, dangerous, and rooted in transgression. The vocals in this album is, what I would call like the icing on the cake. Since the vocalist clearly possesses a wide range that conjoins extremely well with the music. It's very doomy. It's not the black metal in the traditional way. While it has a lot of tremolo and that atmosphere, etc., it's very, very doomy. It's very methodical in its approach, and there are diverse tempo changes, but mostly it is rooted to that. To a very ritualistic sense that you get from this. The last track of this album, man, I know I've spoken about this earlier too. The Impure Wedding. It's one of the most harrowing things that one can ever hear. And this is an album which you can't pick up and just listen to and put it away.
Uh,
You need to be in a specific mood for it. So highly recommended again. Kuldigul, Haxon, absolutely essential stuff. If you like your black metal to be transgressive, if you like your black metal to be a little off the left field. And the next one which I have is an album which I can safely say is kind of life changing, to sound that dramatic. And that album is The Ruins of Beverast, Exuvia. Released in 2017 on Van Records. This is the same version that I have, the original version from 2017, not a reissue. And obviously, Alexander von Malenwald, he does everything here. And this is an album which I found at a time where I was actually looking for stuff and I was kind of disillusioned with the way extreme the extreme scene was. And this album I just put on because I had heard of Ruins of Beverast and I had never heard their music prior. This is like 2018 or something. And I put it on, and the atmosphere, the way the album sounds, and the way the amount of metamorphosis, for the lack of a better word, and the textures that there are in this album, it literally blew my mind. I mean, like I never ever thought that I'm a fan of second wave black metal, right? And I never thought that black metal could be played this way. It's very primal, it's tribal, it has that shamanistic imagery, as you can see from the cover of this album
Yeah.
itself. You know, it feeds into that mythic system, the use of tribal instruments here, the ambient chants, the occasional instruments like flutes, woodwinds, etc. It does not stay within the conventions of what black metal is. It is something which I like to call higher. Uh, yeah, it's a higher quality of black metal. You know, I know a lot of people, both of us, we know, who a lot of people who want this genre to stay within certain
Mm.
dimensions. You know, this is one of the rare bands which takes it beyond that. Like Blue South Now did one, Achilles is another, Deathspell Omega, Ruins of Beverast. They are expanding the genre to what it could be, not in what it should be or what it was. So six
Yeah.
songs in this album, 1 hour, absolutely magnificent. A must-have in your collection if you are a fan of extreme music. Ruins of Beverast, Exuvia. Over to you.
Yeah.
Firstly, your thoughts and yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that Ruins of Beverast album is fantastic. I think my favorite one by them. But yeah, I'm quite a big fan of the band, so don't think they have any weak albums as such. But Exuvia was tremendous, really, really brilliant stuff. Haxan, sorry, not Haxan. Culted de Ghouls. I think I've heard Henbane. Is that an album?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hanbin, the one after
yeah,
this.
the one after this. Yeah, so that was quite good, but band I definitely need to explore a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Hanbin is
good
more,
stuff.
yeah, up to you. Over to you.
No, no, go on.
No, I was saying like Henbane is more, it's not as dark as this. You know, this
Huh.
is more,
Yeah.
I don't want to give spoilers about a fucking album, but Impure Wedding is something which you'll need to experience. I don't
Okay.
want to ruin it for anyone who is thing, but that
Mm.
last bit, that last 30 seconds of this fucking album stays with you, man. And I was
Oh,
like staring at the screen, what the fuck is going on?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got next is a really, really kick-ass haul from Slatanic. So first up is Blackhole Land of Mystery from
Okay.
1985. So Blackhole was like this incredibly obscure proto doom metal from Italy, like a power trio. Essentially, now Italy had this whole, Death SS, and of course Paul Chain, who was part of Death SS. You also had, and that kind of thing. But these guys were, I would say, sort of like psych rock from the 70s meets Sabbath, vocals uh, that take a lot of getting used to, a very acquired taste in terms of the clean singing. So it's sort of doomy, it's sort of progressive, it's unlike most things that you would hear,
Hmm.
and pretty much lived in obscurity for a long, long time before the internet happened, right? And then, of course, through file sharing and blogs and things like that, it kind of got this cult following. I think High Roller reissued this a couple of times, first in 2010 when the hype was at its peak, and then more recently. But overall, I would say a pretty good album if you really want to get into some obscure doom metal, and by like classic 80s styled doom metal.
Right.
So yeah, um, this is Land of Mystery by Blackhole.
So
Then
myself,
yeah,
I've never
go on.
heard, this band. I've never heard of their existence. I
Huh.
will definitely check them out. But I think Italians, they are a little. I always feel they're not very left field, but they take a lot of cliched elements and make them their own. And that's true for their movies also.
Yeah, yeah.
They kind of repurpose a lot of these. known things and they make it their own, and it's always a
Yeah.
little bit different from the norm. Even if you look at their,
Mm.
the bands which you mentioned, right? I mean, even if you look at bands like Mortuary Drape and stuff,
Mm.
it's all stuff that you know. It's just a little bit
Yeah.
different, like Death AS and like Death SS is all as well. Bulldozer,
Yeah.
you know, incredible stuff. It's just that it takes a little to get used to, and once you are
Right.
into it, there's nothing like it. What do you have
True.
next year?
I- So next up, German death metal, Excoriate on Pestilent Wings. This is another album I've been wanting on LP for a long, long time. I think Lone album by the band came out in 2000, between 2005 and 2010 is what I want to say. But really, really good stuff. Cavernous death metal before that term came into being. Kind of slow, kind of death doomy almost, but also really heavy and really powerful death metal. So yeah, if you've never heard Excoriate, check this band out. This has become quite cult in the last few years. So if you're into death metal, you should have heard it. Yeah. And the last one in this round, this is of course Eric Wagner, his posthumous album in the lonely light of morning. I think he finished recording it before he died, thankfully, so there was no patchwork stuff. And it was put out the same year that he died, maybe a few months after he passed away. One of my all time favorite vocalists. I think his stuff on Trouble is absolutely unmatched. And the second Skull album as well is a fantastic piece of work.
Yeah.
But this one has some absolutely great songs. I would say the title song, Rest in Place, If You Lost It All, Wish You Well is incredibly emotional because you know he's not around anymore. But yeah, this was something I wanted for a long time just for sentimental purposes. And also because this is one singer that I wish I could sing like, you know. So yeah, huge influence, and also one singer that it's almost impossible to come up with the kind of melodies that he comes up with
Yeah.
because they are so unconventional, but at the same time they're so hooky. So yeah, great album. And yeah, back to you.
Yeah, probably showing my age here, but my introduction to Wagner and Trouble was a project which Dave Grohl had done in the late 2000s, mid to late 2000s, called Probot. There,
Okay.
yeah, so there, the first single which came out, aside from the second single which came out, the first single was with Lemmy. The second single which came out had Michael Wagner on vocals, and it was called My Tortured Soul. So
Eric,
that was
okay.
that was my introduction to Trouble and Psalm and stuff like that. Great
Huh.
fucking album. I am not very familiar with his solo stuff,
Hmm.
but that is something which I will remedy very soon. The next up, which I have, moving on to some digipacks that I got. This is Vallenfyre,
Hmm.
uh, which was released in 2014 on Century Media. And obviously, we cannot have an episode of Middle Aged Metalhead without the mention of Paradise Lost. So, this is the side project of Paradise Lost, naming, of course, Greg McIntosh's side project. This has Hamish Glencross on from my Dying Bride, ex My Dying Bride, on guitars, Michael Gladdock on bass, and fucking Adrian Erlandson on drums, right? And this, of course, is it's a side project which was started by Greg McIntosh's. It's a grief side project, like he likes saying. It comes with a nice gatefold, you know, stuff. It's very bare bones otherwise. Comes with an insert with some of the lyrics, but that's essentially it. But it's very classily, very nicely done. Yeah, so like I was saying, it started as a grief project after Greg McIntosh's dad died, and the debut I felt was raw mourning, but the Splinters I feel it's a little different. It's not grief, but the violent aftermath of grief. When sadness kind of becomes rage, resentment, and psychological decomposition. Unlike many death doom rooted in sorrow, Splinters is about the uglier psychological side of what grief is essentially. You have bitterness, disgust, violent rejection, raw hostility. And the album also dials up the crust element It's very surprising.
Ah,
It'll come out of nowhere. And there is a lot of crust influence here more than the debut. There are songs like Cattle and Dragged into Gehenna, the title track Splinters. It's a record which expresses a lot of worldview where the trauma has burned through all sentimentality, leaving all only the shell of which is splintered into multiple different directions. So yeah, Vallenfyre, Splinters, if you like Paradise Lost, if you like Death Doom, if you like a little bit of crust encrusted, sorry for the pun, in your heavy music, definitely check them out. Next up, I have an album which I should thank you, GK, for sourcing.
ah,
I'm not sure whether you're going to be speaking about this, but I'll take the opportunity to speak about Black Sabbath's The Eternal Idol. Released in 1987 on Vertigo. This, of course, is the 2015 Sanctuary double disc remastered edition. So, as you can see, again, comes with a really nice, classy gatefold with both discs. And this is an album which I feel is a must-have if you are a Black Sabbath fan, worth your salt. It's in my opinion, this is one of their top 5 albums. Released in 1987, it is the full arrival of Tony Martin, one of metal's most underestimated, underrated, unwashed singers of all time, and a near total collapse of the original Sabbath lineup. It's a pivot into more dark, more theatrical, more gothic, if I may use that word, that predates the later epic doom aesthetics of Black Sabbath, what they became again. And Tony Iommi essentially is running Sabbath here as a solo project plus sessions musicians, and is the last gasp of Sabbath's 80s struggle for identity. It's an absolutely magnificent album. And why I love this version and why I wanted this version, of course, is because of the disc 2. So, disc 2 is, yeah, it comes with 2 discs. The second disc is, of course, the Regalen sessions. So, Regalen was essentially asked to be a part of this entire project. And after recording the demos for this album, he kind of quit, saying that Sabbath, of all bands, was going nowhere. And so this recording was quote unquote hidden from the public consciousness and public's consciousness for a very, very long time, and it recently resurfaced again, and it is just magnificent. It's absolutely raw. The songs here, they speak for themselves. I mean, you have Shining, Hard Life to Love, Glory Ride, Born to Lose, Some Kind of Woman, which is the B-side to one of the singles. Absolutely magnificent. And I must thank you again, GK, for helping me source this. And I know you got one for yourself as well. Over to you.
no, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't know.
Wow.
So I have the original pressing of the album on vinyl, so I was like, nah, it's okay, I'll pass. And so I didn't get one for myself. And then I saw it and I was like, ah, fuck. But,
Yeah.
it's okay. But yeah, last two are going to be slight spoilers from my end. Two of my favorite albums of 2025.
Yeah.
I normally try and wait for at least a couple of years before buying new albums on vinyl to make sure that I'll end up listening to it. But this one, the CD was just proving to be very difficult to get, so I figured, what the hell? Zeicrydeus, we've spoken about this album on this channel. It got its own review. Absolutely fantastic black metal. You could even say Hellenic black metal, but by way of Canada. What's his name? Phil Tugas, who's Cathylist and a whole bunch of other bands, and also just recently realized that he was songwriting and playing on the last Void Ceremony album,
Yeah.
which kind of explains why I think I like that album so much and why I didn't particularly care for the most recent one. But coming back to Zeicrydeus, I would say the rapper is black metal, but there's classic heavy metal, there's thrash, there's a lot of different elements on this album. And if you've not heard it, check it out. This is fantastic. And it's very, very bass led, I guess you could say. And yeah, great stuff. And then also another one of my absolute favorites, which will feature in our best of 2025 video, Sijjin, Helgen Combat. There's band's second full length, fantastic stuff. You can see Abhi's eyes literally glazing over when I'm holding this up because we have hugely contrasting opinions on this album, which we'll save for another video. But yeah, absolutely love this. This just takes me back to death thrash, the prime days of death thrash, you can say. And this is an album that just puts a smile on my face every time I play it. So yeah, fantastic stuff. And that is pretty much everything for me.
Oh, wow. No, I love, Sijin's one thing which I will always credit Sijin for. I mean, my personal issues are with the production. Like you said, we will talk about it in detail maybe in a future video, which probably is going to happen. But my production issues aside, I love the vocals, man. I mean, the vocals are. I mean, the guy from Necros Christos, a band which both of you and I, we
Yeah.
absolutely love. Magnificent vocals, and coming back to Zeicrydeus, I think it's there. Like you rightly mentioned, it has that element of it. It says black metal on the tin, but once you dig deeper, you will see a lot of power metal there, a lot of traditional,
Mm.
heavy metal there, and it's an album which just becomes better with every listening. It is easily in my top three records of this year and one of the best records of the past 4 5 years. It's absolutely magnificent, and the amount of quality content that Phil Tugas just comes up with. Just a couple of years ago, he wrote one of the most brilliant, almost tech death albums in Stillist. He was there in Void Ceremony. He is in Zeicrydeus and multiple other projects that he is a part of. And speaking of my last two, uh, as you can
Ah,
see, an essential album. I've wanted
yeah.
this since I started collecting, and one of the friends of the channel, Rambro, he was kind enough to let go of his copy. This is, of course, the remastered version of Endless Pain by Kreator, the debut album released in 1985 on Noise. This is the 2019 Noise remaster. And if you can see this, it has the Tormentor demos as well. So this is Teutonic Speed thrash metal, primitive black thrash, almost black thrash, underground proto death metal. There is that punk aggression and almost the first wave of black metal aesthetics that we know and love. This album is the hinge between that raw satanic filth of the early 80s and the technical thrash explorations that Kreator went on in the late 80s, early 90s. And this remastered edition, like I mentioned, has the Tormentor demos, which is even more important, which because it showcases the feral teenage DNA of what would become the most important Teutonic thrash band of our day and age. The insert is absolutely magnificent. Noise does these. I have a couple of Celtic Frost Noise remasters as well, and they do these very detailed inlays, very detailed sleeves. Aside from the lyrics, you have like thoughts from Rob, from Ventor, and from Millet as well. There are posters which you can see from back in the day. There are you know, there are some incredible behind the scenes photos. I'm not sure whether you can see this. There are some great there's some great Tormentor demo type you know uh,
Yeah.
posters and stuff like that. So it's really good, and it's really cool. It's a damn good collection, collectible to have. Even if you have lost faith in Kreator like most of us have, this album, the first five Kreator albums, in fact, they hold really really strong. The production here is thin, it's sharp, it's gritty, it's unrefined, and it's fucking cold. It's the total influence on the first wave of black metal. It's absolutely magnificent. Must have worth any collection worth your salt if you're into extreme metal or not. Magnificent album to have. And the last album that I have, GK, is a band, one of my favorite bands, which will be featured
Ah,
maybe in a future best of video, and that
yeah.
is Cenotaphe with Chimeras. It's released on Ancient Cult. Came out a little bit earlier this year, and was I got the version which was released by Nuclear War Now. It features Fog and Chaos Goat, two members. Fog is on all instruments, and Chaos Goat is on vocals and on lead. Uh, Again, really cool insert. I think Nuclear War Now does a really good job with their remasters or even the albums which they are distributing, and they have on their label. They are a very small label, but they do an extremely good way of promoting and packaging these albums. As you can see, this is a painting by Luc Olivier Merson from the 19th century called Pan and Chimera. Even the cover image is a really good, really cool Italian painting called by Giovanni Segantini called The Bad Mothers. This is again very bass heavy, bass led black metal. It is atmospheric. It has when you listening to this, and when I heard it for the first time, it takes a while to get used to because it's a wall of sound. But once you start listening to it more and more, you can hear the intricacies in there, and I think that is what separates French black metal from everything else, because they tend to be so well constructed. It's not the blast which some Canadian bands have. It's not the over reliance on atmosphere that most American or Norwegian bands have. It is that layered intricacy and this almost I don't want to use the word psychotic, but the almost cerebral take on the way black metal should be played and is played. They look inwards rather than outwards and saying fuck the world and nihilism and all of that. They all or most of the great black metal from France is very inward looking and really gets you thinking about what you're listening to and how it's constructed and the way it's played, etc. Really, really good stuff. So those were my last picks. Any thoughts on these two albums, GK?
Yeah, Endless Pain, I think we'll talk about it if we get around to doing a 40th anniversary list.
Yeah.
But absolute classic, like you said. This one, I heard it a couple of times and I liked it quite a bit, but to be honest, I haven't heard it enough this year for it to make my top 10. But yeah, first impressions at least was that it was really solid. Yeah.
Sure. So before we draw this conversation to a close, GK, what are your, what are we ordering next, and what are your, if you can reveal your wish list for 2026?
Ordering next, I've just placed an order with Slatanic for that Profound Lore pre-order.
Yeah.
So Profound Lore, again, I think you do a pre-order once a year or maybe once in 2 years, and you catch up on releases from the last few years. So ordered a bunch of CDs from Aviton, The Healing Facade, which is an album I really, really liked, and The Innumerable Forms, finally getting the last two albums, plus some other stuff. So looking forward to that. Wishlist for 2026 is a vinyl reissue of the self-titled Alice in Chains.
Oh, wow.
That is something I really, really want. Apart from that, I think World Coming Down, Typo Negative, the vinyl reissue of that also would be very nice, because the rest of the albums, the vinyl reissues have been spectacular. Like they've all been 2 LP, 3 LP editions, lots of liner notes, lots of bonus material, really good stuff. But yeah, World Coming Down, they haven't done that yet. I think just these two albums really. Plus maybe, the list is never ending, but mainly reissues. So if someone gets around to reissuing the Ripping Corpse album, that would be cool. So yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think with Slatanic itself, I don't want to jinx it, but the Wasp albums, the first 6 Wasp albums, is something which I'm looking forward to. My hands on the Blue Nord albums that I had pre-ordered from him. Looking forward to that. And aside from that, I started collecting one more time. I just want to get some essentials out of the way. Like I want to get the Echo albums. I want to get the Alice in Chains albums, like you mentioned. I want to get my hands on at least 7 of my top Paradise Lost albums. So I want to get all of these out of the way first. And aside from that, BLR AD. they keep having these sales, Kali Yuga conspiracies, they keep having these sales. So I keep picking up stuff month on month for stuff that I am into at that point of time, or I know for a fact that I'm really, really uh, you're looking forward to that. One speaking of, I think Azelissasath is they are having a pre-order for Azelissasath, so that is also
Yeah,
a
yeah.
band which I absolutely love. Again,
Mhm.
French black metal, absolutely magnificent band. If you've not heard Azelissasath, please do check it out. It's fantastic. And to speak more about 2026, what do we have planned for the next year, GK? You want to speak about that too?
As a channel, I think we've got some interesting ideas lined up. Hopefully, a lot more videos, a lot more discussions around metal, discourse around metal, lots of nerdy shit. I don't want to go into specific topics yet because, I don't want to say something that'll never happen. But as usual, I think with this channel, the chief problem is time and balancing our videos and podcasts and discussions with our day-to-day lives and jobs.
Yeah.
But looking forward to a lot more regular content for 2026. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That is most likely something that we are working towards to have at least a video out every week, if not more. A lot more. We're looking forward to having a lot more interesting guests. We had a few this year. Looking forward to speak to a lot of more interesting guests, and yeah, a year-end podcast is also happening. So we will give you more details about this maybe in a later edition of the Middle Aged Metalhead. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you will take some of our recommendations and buy something nice for yourself. Christmas is on the way, so get yourself nice for something for yourself, and for someone who might enjoy this kind of stuff. You can always send out your stuff by dropping a comment, and we accept cash in kind of all nature. So I'll see you guys again soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And if you're in India and you collect, you'll see links to BLR Audio distro, Slatanic distro, and Kali Yuga Conspiracies in the description. So go on and join those WhatsApp groups and yeah, subscribe to our channel if you like it. We're looking to hit 500 at least by sometime in 2026, which should be good. Cheers, stay metal, stay strong.